Go. Okay, so the last area that we need to discuss about the topic cells is the subtopic cell division. So in this area, actually the students, well, majority of the students doesn't have any background knowledge about this subtopic. So we need to guide them all the way through this topic. So in this area, okay, so first things that is needed to be discussed in cell division is that we have to actually explain. We have to explain the significance of cell division. So we have to go back to the previous area or previous topic, which is in the cell theory, that it says there that all cells come from pre-existing cells. The reason why there is growth, the reason why there is repair, and the reason why there is asexual reproduction, it's because cells keep on producing, or the cells keep on reproducing. So we have to state that their significance and their importance as well. Okay. Growth, repair, and asexual reproduction. Okay. So under the cell division, okay, once that you have discussed the significance of this area, then we should also elaborate the things that are included in cell division. We have two types of cell division. Okay, we have mitosis and meiosis. Okay, you also need to elaborate the significance of these two types, that mitosis is being produced to produce an identical type of cells, whereas for meiosis, this is to produce a haploid cell, or having half the number of chromosomes, producing gametes. So basically, reiterating to the students that identical cells should be produced in mitosis, whereas for meiosis, gametes are being produced. Okay, so the other point that is needed to be discussed under cell division, of course, are the stages. So under the stages of cell division, we have to include the stages interface. Okay. In the area of interface, we have to discuss, or we have to explain to the students that interface is not a resting stage. It only seems that the cell is resting, but this area, the cell is most active, because under this phase, or under this stage, the cell is actually undergoing a very active biochemical reaction. So the cell can undergo protein synthesis, or it can undergo fertilization, depending on what the cell is needing. Okay? So under interface, we have to elaborate as well that there are three substages. We have G1 phase, we have S phase, and G2 phase. On the G1 and G2 phase, this is the growth phase of the cell, wherein right after cytokinesis, G1, the newly developed cell, is actually producing more and more organelles. The biochemical activity is increasing. Whereas for S phase, we have to elaborate as well that it is only solely for DNA replication. In G2 phase is actually in preparation for mitosis. Right after interface, okay, so this is where mitosis, or the process of meiosis, is gonna enter. But in the case of meiosis, this is gonna be discussed in a different topic. So mitosis, this includes 4 substages. We have the prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. It'll be better if we are able to come up with codes for students. For example, I always tell my students that for you to remember the stages of cell division, just remember IPMET-C. Okay, so the letters in this code represents the first letter of this the specific stages in the cell division. Okay, from the start to the end. Okay, so right after mitosis, okay, of course, we have to indicate that the cytoplasm has to divide as well through the process of cytokinesis. Okay, so in these areas, since that we have already outlined the stages of cell division, okay, the most common struggle in this area is remembering the events. Okay, so most students would complain about, I'm having a difficulty in remembering the stages and I'm confused. So we only need to highlight on the main events that is occurring in each and every stage. So highlight main events. Okay, so what are the main events that is needed to be remembered? So first, okay, the first area that is needed to be remembered, of course, the students have to pay attention on what is occurring on the genetic material or on the chromatin. Okay, so is the chromatin gonna coil? Is it gonna coil up? Is it gonna separate in a specific stage? Okay, something like that. So another thing, since the cell is going to undergo cell division, the nuclear membrane is not going to be used for a while. So there is a specific phase in the process of prophase, the nuclear membrane or the nuclear envelope that separates the genetic material from the cytoplasm and other organelles is going to disappear for a while. Another highlight that is, or another thing that is needed to be remembered is the activity of the centriole. Centrioles is one of the organelles that has been discussed previously in eukaryotic cells, and they are organelles that are being used in this process or in the process of cell division. They are what we call the spindle fiber arranging organelles. So without the spindle fibers, then there's nothing that is going to help the chromatin to be moving inside the cell. Okay, so there. So it's going to be helpful as well if we are going to provide diagrams for students while we are teaching the stages and remembering the highlight or remembering the main events through the process. Okay, last but not the least, okay, of course there are also concerns regarding the production of tumors or cancers. Okay, cancer, it is actually an event or a condition wherein a specific cell, the DNA of a specific cell is mutated, leading to repeated or uncontrollable cell division. Okay, so resulting to the production of mass of cells. So whenever the DNA is mutated or destroyed, then it can lead to uncontrollable cell division of the cell. Okay. So that is all for this topic.